Hey guys, Outdoors Man here. I'm working up north in the beautiful community of Toledo, Northwest Territories, and been tasked with fixing an old mower here that needs to be repaired. And so one of the issues with this mower is that the cables, which control the power to the mower, the cables have become all stretched out. So as these cables get older, they'll get kind of loose, and basically they become so loose that they no longer engage. So you go to try to start the mower, and the cable there's not enough pressure to put on the cable to have it engage. So because I'm in I'm in a really remote location. What's up guys, Outdoors Man here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the ends on a cable. This cable in particular is being used on a lawnmower, but they have other applications too that you can use them for. So in this instance, the problem with this mower is that it won't engage, because when you try to pull the handle, the cable is so old and stretched out and seized up that it wouldn't engage the mower. Now sometimes you'll find that these cables get so old that when you try to engage the lever, it'll actually snap the cable somewhere along the way. In this case we got lucky, the cable didn't snap, it wasn't that seized up. I put a little bit of lubricant inside the sleeve there just to help the cable slide a little bit, but the end of the cable was way too long. So basically when we tried to engage, like you can see here, this one is all stretched out, and it's so stretched out that it won't engage. So what we're going to do today is we're going to repair that by adding a new end. We're going to cut the cable down like I've done here, and we're actually going to add a new end to this. Now normally you can go and you can actually buy the different ends for these, but because I'm working in a remote fly-in location right now, I'm going to have to do it with what I've got kicking around here, and unfortunately there's no store that sells those, nor would I be able to order one in with any kind of reasonable time frame. So what I'm going to be showing you today is how you can make a new end for this cable in order to hold it in place, and then that way we can get this thing running again. So what you'd normally see on the end of your cable is a little metal piece that looks like this. They are shaped differently depending on the manufacturer, but that is what is holding onto the end of your cable, and it goes through the little hole on your level to start your mower, or on your spring to keep the mower going up at the front. So this is what we would need, but since we don't have one, we're going to be making something else out of what we've got lying around. So what I've started by doing is I sprayed a little bit of lube into the sleeve here, just to help this cable move. A lot of the times the cables will get old and rusted, they'll get a bit of moisture in here, and they'll stop moving altogether, and sometimes when you put pressure on them to engage them, it'll actually snap the cable off right inside of there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the right length of cable. So this cable was really, really old and worn out and stretched out. It was way too long. So what I've done is I've just taken it down and I've measured it to about the right size that we're going to want for it to properly engage without having too much. So I've done that, and I took a pair of side cutters and cut it off. Now as you can see, it's kind of hard to attach this inside the old handle there that we used to have, and if you put it through, it's just going to pull back out. So what I'm going to show you is how to make an end for this with stuff that you probably already have in your garage. So we're going to start by taking a pair of pliers, and we're just going to twist the end of this cable up as best we can. There's always going to be a few frayed ends, but we're just going to twist it. And once we get it nice and twisted up, the wire will kind of stick together again. And basically we just want to twist it up as best as we can to try to keep all that wire together. Okay, so I've got the end nice and twisted. I've tried to get all the little ends together as best as I can. If you can't do that, you can give it a little bit of a snip to try to keep the end a little bit cleaner. But that's probably about as good as I'm going to get right now. So our next step is we're going to take our cable, and you need to make sure that you do this step before you move on to anything else, because if you don't, you're going to have your cable repaired and you won't be able to get it back to the handle of your mower. So I've taken the handle off of the mower, and I've taken the cable off the mower as well, just to make it easy. So I'm going to fit this cable back through the handle on my mower as best I can. And again, you're going to get those frayed ends, and that's okay, we'll trim those off. We're just going to get that through like this. So we'll just try to clean these couple ends up, twist them up as best we can. Try to make that a little bit neater. And now I'm going to take my side cutters and just clip that end off. Next, I'm going to take an old scrap piece of wood here and I'm going to drill a hole into it. We want to drill a hole big enough that we create a big enough cavity for what we're going to put in there, which is going to be some lead solder. So you want to create a cavity, but you don't want to create a cavity, you don't want to go to the bottom of the wood because you want the lead to stay in there and then attach itself to the wire, which you're going to see in a few minutes here. Now to keep this wire from flopping around too much and coming back out, I'm just going to put it up against the mower handle, just throw a piece of tape around it real quick. That'll just keep it from jumping around on us. Next we're going to take some solder paste and we're just going to put it into the hole there. Sorry about the video, I'm not using my GoPro, I'm using my phone, so it's a little bit harder to do all the work and then hold the phone steady all at the same time. We'll just kind of fill it in like that. Now that we've got our flux paste in that piece of wood, we're just going to heat it up with a soldering torch. And we're going to put some solder in there. Once we've got that solder nice and hot, we're going to put in our cable. And after you've waited a few minutes, that solder is going to cool off and you should be able to pull it right out. Like that. Now that one's not very pretty, but it will work as far as holding that wire in place where we need it. Next, just use a knife and remove that piece of tape that was holding your wire together. And now you can see it's not pretty, but in a pinch your wire's now gone back to that hole and you have your new connector like you would normally have on your other end, like that. And there you have it. Once you put your handle back in, you can re-engage your mower properly. And you can have it at the proper length. I've still got to zip tie this one down to take up the tension, but your mower should be back in working order. I hope you've liked this video. If this has helped you, please remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel.